Single dad CEO's heartwarming surprise, daughter's touching wish exposed. Can this amazing woman save their family? Jack Reynolds, 38, sat alone in the sleek, glass-walled conference room, the flickering lights of Maplewood shining like a glittering promise beyond the horizon. As CEO of a promising tech startup, he had achieved success beyond his wildest dreams. But deep down, he was exhausted, his heart aching for the warmth of his 10-year-old daughter, Ella. Their sprawling home echoed with silence, laughter, and joy replaced by the sound of notifications, pressing deadlines, and corporate pressures. Every night, Jack put in long hours, pouring his energy into work, driven by the desire to provide a materially abundant life for Ella. Yet it never took long for him to see the disappointment in her innocent eyes. Ella's dreams swirled around family vacations, trips filled with laughter and heartwarming connections with long-lost relatives. Jack thought he was doing enough, but he soon learned that money can't fill the empty spaces left in the absence of love. "Why can't we just go visit Grandma?" Ella had asked one evening, her small hands pushing slices of pizza around her plate, the discomfort hanging thick in the air. In that moment, Jack felt a tightness in his chest, an ache that mirrored the sound of Ella's voice, tinged with longing and confusion. Here he was, a successful businessman and a single dad, yet he couldn't comprehend the cost of his ambitions, the emotional richness they were sacrificing for the comforts that came with wealth. As her words hung in the air, he realized her desperation came not from wants, but from a universal need for connection. Then came the storm. Facing an unexpected financial crisis, the pressure mounted. Jack felt himself pulled between crisis management and the empty dinner table awaiting his daughter's hopeful heart. Should he abandon a meeting with investors to not miss Ella's soccer game? The weight of those choices crushed him. His plan to surprise Ella with a grand family reunion seemed like a shining beacon, but he wasn't seeing her wish clearly. He wanted to give her a holiday, she craved simple moments of connection that had turned into fleeting shadows. The day arrived when Jack confronted an investors' meeting that felt like staring into the depths of his soul. Faced with a dismissive investor questioning his priorities, Jack felt something awaken within him. "What's more important to you, Jack?" The man sneered, eyes narrowed. Jack's heart raced. He didn't have the answer. The numbers and margins numbed him, but the thought of his daughter waiting lost in her own world stung sharper than any critique. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. Something clicked in him that day, a realization that he could forge a path that redefined success. So, Jack decided to organize a community event about family relationships, not just for him and Ella, but for the whole neighborhood, aiming to reignite connections within their local fabric. As he began to prepare, nerves twisted in his stomach. Would this truly help them heal, or was it just another distraction? As the day of the event approached, he stood by the door anxious, hopeful, and stricken with doubt. Could he rekindle the love and connection between him and Ella, or was it too late? Save their family. The community event dawned bright and hopeful, yet Jack still wrestled with his anxiety. He stood in front of the large banner advertising the day's activities: family connections, building bonds together. The cheerful colors did little to mask his swirling concerns. Would anyone even show up? Would Ella feel disappointed if they didn't? He glanced at the small table set up with games, crafts, and family activities. Ella, excited yet nervous, bounced on her toes, clutching her favorite stuffed animal. "Daddy, can we do the kite making first?" she asked, her eyes sparkling with innocent enthusiasm. "Of course, kiddo." Jack ruffled her hair, hoping she wouldn't sense the tremor in his voice. As families began to trickle in, Jack felt a wave of relief wash over him. Parents and children embraced, exchanged stories, and joined in laughter. For the first time in ages, Jack saw the spark of community he had missed so much. Yet, amidst the cheerful noise, there was a nagging worry: was this really what Ella wanted? "Dad, look! A family is making a kite together." She pointed, her enthusiasm contagious. Jack watched young children sprint under the fluttering colors in the breeze, their voices mingled with laughter that danced through the air. "Let us make one, too," Jack encouraged, guiding her toward the brightly colored supplies. After a few moments of assembling, Ella turned serious. "Do you think Grandma will like ours? Maybe we can fly them together," she suggested hopefully. A chill swept through Jack as he thought of his own mother, miles away in a different state. The weight of unfulfilled visits settled heavily on his heart. "We can call her later and send a picture," he said, forcing a smile. Ella's eyes sparkled again at the idea, but in that moment, the corners of Jack's heart felt like they were tugging apart. He was giving her what he thought she wanted: a family event, but was it enough? Was this just a temporary fix for something deeper that yearned to be healed? As the sun began to dip, Jack found himself standing beside Ella, both holding their newly crafted kite. The wind caught it just right, lifting their creation into the air. Ella jumped with glee. "Look, Dad, it's flying. Our kite." Jack's heart swelled. For a fleeting moment, he forgot about work, problems, and investor meetings. Watching Ella's joy was everything. But as the day faded and families began to leave, a voice interrupted his thoughts. Maya, the school counselor, approached them, smiling warmly. "You did a wonderful job here, Jack. I can see Ella is happy. But..." Jack's stomach tightened at the unspoken but. "She needs you, Jack. More than events. She needs time with her dad, not just the CEO," Maya said, her gaze steady and sincere. The word struck him like a bolt. Was he really present in Ella's life? As the last family left, Jack faced Ella. "Maybe we need to make Mondays our family day," he suggested gently. Her face lit up, but there was a flicker of hesitation in her eyes. "What if you have meetings?" "I'll find a way," he said, determination flooding his voice. But in the back of his mind, doubts loomed like a storm cloud. Jack took a deep breath. Could he truly change? Could he let go of the corporate grind for the love of his daughter? As they began to pack up, Jack saw Ella looking wistfully at the last color of sunset. "Dad, do you think we can go see Grandma next weekend?" Caught off guard, Jack hesitated. He had been so focused on his goals that he could barely make room for the desires that really mattered. "Ella, I promise," he replied, but inside, he felt a tug of disbelief. The weight of his promise hung heavily in the air as they packed up. Now, Jack stood at a crossroads. Would he dare to embrace vulnerability and take the path toward real family connection? Or would he retreat into the familiar confines of work, leaving dreams and love floating away like a forgotten kite? The decision loomed, and Jack was not yet sure what his heart truly wanted. But he knew one thing: tomorrow had to be different. Jack awoke the next morning with a sense of purpose swirling inside him, as if the whisper of the previous day's promise had ignited a fire he could no longer ignore. He lay in bed for a moment, watching as the sunlight spilled through the curtains, painting soft patterns on the walls. Today would be the day he began to change for Ella. After breakfast, Jack committed to his plan. He cleared his work calendar. There would be no investor meetings today. Instead, he focused on connecting with his daughter. "How about a little adventure?" he asked while putting on his shoes. Ella's eyes sparkled with excitement. "An adventure? Where?" "Just us two, no plans except fun." Jack felt like a kid again, the thought filling him with a thrill of anticipation. He loved the idea of making memories intentionally, instead of simply being the guy who came home late with work lingering in his mind. They decided on a visit to the nearby botanical garden, a place where colors bloomed and life thrived. As they walked hand in hand, Jack took in the delight on Ella's face. She twirled through the paths, her laughter ringing like music in the air. He felt like the worries of deadlines and boardroom discussions faded into the background. "Look at that flower, Daddy. It looks like a rainbow," Ella exclaimed, pointing at vibrant blossoms. Jack knelt beside her, his heart swelling. He saw Ella's joy mirrored in the petals, each hue brighter than the last. "It's beautiful, isn't it?" he said, gently squeezing her hand. Time slipped by as they explored together, collecting leaves and flowers and capturing snapshots of their day with Jack's phone. Just the two of them, venturing through life's little wonders. Later, they settled on a bench, Ella munching on a snack. "Dad, can we really go see Grandma next weekend?" she asked, her voice softening. The weight of the question pulled at Jack's heart. "Yes, I mean it this time," he replied, feeling something shift inside him. "Promise?" Her trusting gaze echoed in his mind, and Jack felt a wave of warmth mixed with fear. "Promise." His voice was steady, but internally a storm brewed. Could he keep that promise when work always reared its head? As they were about to leave, Jack noticed a small kids' art booth set up nearby. Ella dashed over, honing in on the vibrant paintings, her eyes wide with wonder. It was there that Jack saw a beautiful piece titled "Family Adventures," showcasing the love between a father and daughter walking in a park. "Can we make one just like that?" Ella asked, her hands already reaching for paintbrushes. "Absolutely," Jack replied, feeling a renewed sense of connection. They gathered supplies and got to work. As colors splashed across the canvas, Jack felt something shift, a release of all the hesitations he carried. They laughed, smeared paint on each other's noses, creating a scene filled with laughter and love. While they painted, Jack marveled at how this simple act stirred something profound within him, waking in him the realization that these moments would create memories far more valuable than any board meeting success. As they finished their masterpiece, Ella stepped back to admire their work, scrunching her nose in concentration. "It looks amazing, Dad. Just like us." Jack felt his heart leap. "Yes, just like us." But suddenly, his phone buzzed in his pocket, pulling him back to reality. It was a message from his assistant reminding him of an urgent meeting. Jack stared at the phone, anxiety building again. Would he allow that pressure to disrupt what they had just built? This simple day of connection could easily be overshadowed by the demands of his job. He looked at Ella, momentarily frozen in uncertainty. He felt the echoes of his past decisions, haunting him. But in that moment, as he admired the happy, innocent glow on Ella's face, Jack remembered the feeling of the breeze on their kite the day before, and he knew which direction his heart leaned towards. "Hey, how about we take this art home and show Grandma together?" Jack said, trying to push the doubts aside. Ella bounced on her feet, her joy contagious. "Yes. She'll love it." With renewed determination, Jack decided then and there that he would make this the first of many steps towards being the father Ella deserved. As they left the garden, Jack made a silent vow. Tomorrow would not just be different, it would be filled with possibilities he couldn't let slip away again. But deep down, a question loomed: could he juggle the demands of his role as CEO while also being the father Ella needed? As they headed home, holding hands beneath the orange glow of the setting sun, the weight of that question lingered, urging him to confront the vestiges of his life as he once knew it. Jack and Ella returned home, the warm colors of sunset casting a cozy glow in their living room as they stepped inside. Ella immediately set their painting on the coffee table. It was messy, colorful, and inconveniently oversized, but to them, it was a masterpiece that represented a day of love and laughter. "Can we hang it on the wall?" Ella asked, her eyes bright with hope. "Of course," Jack replied, kneeling down to her level. "It's our best work yet. Let us hang it right where we can see it every day." As they adorned the wall with their creation, he felt an overwhelming sense of pride. This act, so simple yet so profound, shifted something between them. The apartment felt different, alive with their shared moment of creativity. But the lingering anxiety from the earlier message clawed at the edges of his mind. He grabbed a stray piece of paper and began sketching the outline of a plan. "I'll just take a quick look at my emails," he said, feeling guilty for even considering it. Ella, oblivious to his inner turmoil, ran to the kitchen, her small feet pattering on the tile floor. "Dad, can I make cookies?" she called out, her voice chirping with excitement. "Sure, let us do it together," he responded, shaking off the weight of his phone. In the kitchen, they mixed flour with sugar, creating a delightful mess. Ella giggled as dough splattered everywhere, and for a moment, Jack forgot all about the meeting, the deadlines, the emails. The laughter of his daughter filled the air, and he couldn't help but join in, sweeping flour from his cheek with a dramatic flourish. As they rolled the dough into shapes, Jack realized this was the moment he had been missing all along, the chance to be present when it mattered most. He watched as Ella's imagination transformed ordinary ingredients into shapes of stars and hearts. "Look, Dad." She held up a star-shaped cookie, eyes sparkling. "It's for you." "For me?" Jack laughed, touched. "Why, thank you. I'm the luckiest dad in the universe." Their banter continued as the smell of cookies wafted through the house, wrapping them in a warm embrace. It felt comfortable, fulfilling, and for the first time in a long while, Jack's heart wasn't weighed down by the pressure of work. Just as they finished the last batch, Ella's phone buzzed, startling them both. It was a video call from Grandma. Jack shot Ella a grin as she rushed to answer it. "Hi, Grandma," Ella exclaimed, her face lighting up the screen. "Hello, my sweet girl. I can't wait to see you next weekend. I miss you both." Grandma's voice was warm, filling the room. "Guess what, Grandma? Daddy and I made a painting, and cookies." Ella beamed, her enthusiasm contagious. "Did you really? I can't wait to see them." Grandma replied, and Jack felt a pang of affection at how easily Ella connected with her. Once the call ended, Ella turned to Jack, her excitement still bubbling over. "Can we make more paintings tomorrow? Maybe one for Grandma?" Jack's heart swelled at the idea. "Absolutely. We can make a whole gallery for her." As Ella grinned widely, a thought struck Jack. Suddenly, he was flooded with memories of weekends spent lost in creativity with Ella before he became overwhelmed by work. The contrast was stark and unsettling. He had let the demands of the outside world overshadow their special moments. "Do you think Grandma and I could paint together, too?" Ella asked innocently, her question piercing Jack's heart. The guilt rushed back as he realized how much Ella longed for shared experiences with their family. "Yeah, I think that would be a great idea," Jack said, inwardly vowing to ensure that their visit would be filled with those moments. Yet, as the evening settled into a gentle calm, the weight of his responsibilities loomed once more. Could he truly make this shift? He tucked Ella into bed later, kissing her forehead as she drifted off to sleep. He stood by the door, watching her peaceful face, and somehow felt the world balance in that moment. But Jack couldn't shake the nagging question, what sacrifices would he have to make to truly balance his career and his family? As he stepped quietly into the living room, staring at their painting on the wall, he felt something shift within him. He had made promises today, but tomorrow, he would need to confront his habits and choices head-on. What awaited him in the morning? Would he be strong enough to forge the path he needed? The thought lingered like a whisper, filling him with a mixture of hope and trepidation. Jack awoke to the soft sound of Ella humming in her room, the melody floating down the hallway like a gentle breeze. He rubbed his eyes, feeling the imprint of sleep still hanging on him. The sunlight peeked through the curtains, illuminating their painting a riot of colors that felt like a celebration of family. After a quick breakfast, Jack joined Ella at the kitchen table, where she was already seated with a fresh batch of crayons spread out in front of her. "Look, Dad. I'm drawing our family," she said, her small fingers working with infectious zeal. Jack leaned closer, his heart swelling as he took in the vibrant stick figures, their faces complete with goofy smiles. "I love it. Look, There's you, me, and Grandma too. Ella concentrated hard, adding a big, cartoonish sun above the stick figures. And look at the big house. We'll have a garden with flowers, and I'll make a swing set. As he observed her, a question nagged at the back of his mind. Ella, he started, choosing his words carefully. What would you want to do most when Grandma visits? She paused, considering this with all the seriousness of a 5-year-old. I want to paint with her, bake cookies, and take naps all together. And maybe tell stories. Jack's heart twisted. Those simple things held so much value, and yet, he often let responsibilities cloud those moments. That sounds perfect. I think we can do all of that and more. She grinned, satisfaction lighting up her features. Taking a deep breath, Jack leaned back in his chair, trying to steel himself for the day ahead. His phone buzzed on the table, a reminder from his calendar about the critical meeting that loomed on the horizon. What if it went sideways? Could he really give his all to his job and still be the dad that Ella wanted? The day dragged on. Jack found himself distracted during conference calls, his mind wandering back to Ella and her whimsical drawings. He envisioned her laughter echoing through their home, filling every corner with joy. By late afternoon, the pressure built into a palpable weight. He had a deadline for an important project. It would mean more late nights, more moments lost with Ella. Despite the hustle of the work-day, the thought of her disappointment hung heavier than the demands of his job. When the clock finally struck 5, he pushed back from his desk. Walking into the living room, he caught sight of their painting again, a reminder of what mattered most. Dad? Ella's voice broke through his thoughts. He glanced over to see her standing at the doorway, her face serious. Are we still going to paint tomorrow like we talked about? Of course, Bean, he said, the name slipping naturally off his tongue. I wouldn't miss it for the world. Her smile brightened the room. Can we each have our own canvas? I want to paint my dreams. Absolutely. A whole world for imagination. As he said it, Jack sensed a flicker of determination ignite within him. Maybe tomorrow was a chance for him to embrace the chaos of creativity, to carve out those moments they could cherish together, but as the evening wound down, one question remained: how could he draw the line between being a dedicated dad and a driven CEO? As Ella snuggled beside him on the couch, her soft breaths rocking him into a sense of calm, Jack suddenly knew the answer lay not just in his choices but in his courage to make them. In that moment, he realized that this was just the beginning of a much bigger journey. Could he get truly balanced? Or would the demands of work steal away the dream he had started to picture? Tomorrow was a canvas too, waiting to be painted. Where would his brush take him next? Jack woke early the next morning, the sun gently filtering through the curtains. He rolled out of bed, excitement bubbling inside him as he remembered Ella's enthusiasm from the night before. Today was the day they would paint, and he felt determined to make it special. That he made pancakes, their sweet aroma filling the kitchen. As Jack poured syrup over the fluffy stacks, Ella bounded in, her hair a messy halo around her face. Are we ready for the best painting day ever? She cheered, her bright eyes sparkling with anticipation. Absolutely. But first, pancakes. He set a plate in front of her, watching as she dove in with a gusto that made him smile. After breakfast, they gathered supplies, canvases, brushes, and a rainbow of paints. Jack laid everything out on the patio table, eager to see what Ella would create. The weather was perfect, a delightful spring morning that buzzed with energy. Birds chirped cheerfully, and the world outside felt alive. We're going to make masterpieces today, Ella declared, her small hands moving through the air with exaggerated gestures. Jack chuckled. That's the spirit. What's the first thing you want to paint? Ella thought for a moment, tapping her chin. I want to paint the garden. All the flowers. And maybe a unicorn. Jack laughed at the idea but felt a thrill of joy. He loved her infinite imagination. Let us do it. I'll join you, and we can have a garden of our own. They got to work. Jack, trying to mirror Ella's joyous strokes, painted wildflowers in an explosion of colors that seemed to dance on the canvas. Ella, engrossed in her unicorn, added glitter and swirls of pink and purple, her giggles ringing through the air like music. As the canvases began taking shape, Jack found himself lost in a moment he had long craved. No deadlines, no meetings, just heart and laughter shaded by vibrant colors. He caught Ella's eye and they exchanged wide smiles, the bond between them strengthening with every brushstroke. When Ella looked up from her painting, she paused, her face turning serious again. "Dad, will Grandma really be here tomorrow?" Jack's heart tugged at her vulnerability. She seemed so small and hopeful. "Yes, she'll be here. We'll paint together, just like you dreamed." Ella's grin returned, but Jack couldn't shake the feeling of impending change. He thought about their future with Grandma. Would Ella understand the demands of his job as the pressures mounting intensified? With every giddy laugh, there was a whispered fear that the reality of work would intrude and shatter these precious moments. "Dad?" Ella interrupted his thoughts. "What do you think Grandma wants to paint?" Jack looked at her, his heart swelling. "I think she'll want to paint us her family." The words hung in the air, a gentle reminder of what connected them all. Ella nodded thoughtfully. "Can we all paint together then? All our dreams?" "That's the plan," Jack assured, though uncertainty lingered in the back of his mind. Could he balance the demands of work while nurturing these priceless moments of family? As they painted onward, Jack caught a glimpse of the future, a tapestry woven with love and creativity, yet buffeted by the winds of responsibility. He knew they had a chance at something beautiful together, if only he could keep the world at bay. Would tomorrow's visit bring the joy they anticipated? Or would work once again threaten to steal precious time? As the sun dipped toward the horizon, Jack hoped that he could find a way to blend both parts of his life seamlessly, creating the masterpiece of their family. How much strength would it take for him to hold on to both dreams? The morning sun glowed brightly the following day, spilling into the kitchen where Jack prepared breakfast. He felt a mix of nervous anticipation and excitement dancing in his stomach. Today was more than just a day of painting, it was a day for family, and that meant everything to him. Ella raced into the room, her dress twirling as she spun in circles, her laughter a delightful melody. "Is Grandma here yet?" she asked, searching the house with wide, hopeful eyes. "Not yet, but she'll be here soon," Jack replied, trying to quell the flutter of anxiety in his heart. He set the table with their favorite cereal, but Ella was hardly interested. Her focus was on the door, waiting for the sound of Grandma's arrival. The minutes stretched on like hours. Finally, just as they finished breakfast, the doorbell rang, a clear, bright sound that sent Ella sprinting toward the door. Jack followed closely behind, his heart thumping. When Ella flung the door open, a wave of warmth washed over the room as Grandma stepped in. Her face glowed with joy, and she scooped Ella into her arms, twirling her around. "My sweet girl. I couldn't wait to see you." Ella squealed with delight as Jack watched the two embrace. He could see the love and connection they shared. It pulled at his heart, but for a moment, he felt the familiar pang of worry. Would his mother be able to handle Ella's enthusiastic energy today? Would she expect more from him than he could give? "Jack. Good to see you," Grandma said, pulling him into a brief hug. "I hope you've been taking care of yourself." "Of course, Mom," Jack replied, masking the slight unease in his voice. He wanted this day to be perfect, for Ella's sake and for the sake of their family. With routines established, the trio made their way to the patio where canvases waited. Jack set up his easel beside Ella's, both of them turning expectant gazes toward Grandma. "What do you want to paint first?" Ella asked, her eyes alight with creative possibilities. Grandma smiled, a hint of nostalgia flickering across her face. "How about we each choose something that reminds us of home?" Ella counted off on her fingers. "I want to paint flowers." "Dad, what do you want to paint?" Jack paused, scanning the courtyard filled with colors and memories. "I think I'll paint this backyard. It holds so many memories for us." doesn't it? Grandma nodded, her eyes narrowing thoughtfully. And I'll paint your mother's garden. It was her pride and joy. A hush fell over the patio as the gravity of that sentence settled amongst them. Jack swallowed hard. Memories of his late wife flitted through his mind like fireflies, illuminating the corners of his heart he kept hidden. Would he be able to capture the essence of what had once been? Would Ella be okay too? As they began to paint, colors splashed across the canvases, joyful at first, but Jack found it increasingly difficult to focus. Each stroke reminded him of the laughter, the warmth, the love that filled their home before. He glanced at Ella, so comfortably lost in her vibrant colors, and Grandma, with a wistful smile as she carefully worked on her own piece. It struck him that this was not merely about painting, it was about healing, connection, and honoring the past. He had to remind himself that every stroke could also be a step toward embracing the future. "Can I add sparkles to the flowers?" Ella shouted, bringing him back to the moment, her youthful exuberance chasing away his worries. Of course. A garden isn't complete without a little magic. Jack laughed, realizing how much he needed this day that they all did. As brush strokes mingled with laughter, Jack felt a shift inside him, a release. But just as the moment felt perfect, a reminder of his responsibilities gnawed at him. His phone buzzed on the table, a work email blinking insistently. Would it pull him away again? "Are you okay, Dad?" Ella's innocent question broke through his thoughts. Jack forced a smile, his heart heavy yet hopeful. "I'm here, sweetheart. Just thinking about how we can keep this moment alive." Ella beamed, already dreaming of their next painted masterpiece. But Jack's thoughts lingered on tomorrow, and suddenly he wondered if this beautiful moment could lead to a breakthrough he wasn't expecting. What if the work he struggled so hard to balance could actually become part of this family tapestry? As the sun dipped lower, the canvases transformed, but so did Jack's understanding of what it meant to be a father. Would he be able to adapt, to embrace all parts of his life without losing precious moments? The question lingered like paint drying, waiting for the next stroke that could change everything. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, Jack stood back to admire his work. His canvas captured the essence of their backyard. His heart echoed in every stroke, from the tall, swaying grass to the blossoming flowers that Ella had imagined. He felt a rush of warmth, but shadows of doubt still lingered. Could he truly manage to keep the balance of his life and provide the love Ella deserved? Ella, still gleefully adding sparkles to her flower-filled canvas, caught his eye and shouted, "Look, Dad! It's a magic garden. It's so pretty." Her joy unfurled like petals in bloom. Jack laughed, responding genuinely, "It's the prettiest magic garden I've ever seen." Just as a smile spread across his face, the soft vibrations of his phone drew him back. The blinking light tugged at him, a reminder of the world outside their creative bubble. "Do you need to check that?" Grandma asked, glancing at the phone with understanding. "Just a work email," he muttered, his heart sinking. "Nothing urgent." But as he turned back to the painting, a sense of dread washed over him. The world demanding his attention always felt heavy, like a weight pressing on his shoulders. "Grandma, can you help me with these sparkles?" Ella's voice rang out, a siren call of innocence. Jack shifted his attention, grateful for the distraction. He cherished such moments. His daughter's laughter and imagination transformed the air like sweet music. "I'll help, darling," Grandma chimed, kneeling beside her. Their bond was palpable, a connection forged through love and time. Jack watched, a knot in his chest slightly loosening. Perhaps this was what he needed to see. With each sparkle they added to Ella's flowers, Jack let the chatter of his mind fade. He caught sight of his mother from the corner of his eye, her hands gently guiding Ella, both of them radiating an infectious joy. It stirred old memories in him, a nostalgia he desperately tried to box away. That he lowered his brush and took a deep breath. It felt time to share a piece of himself that had been hidden for too long. "Mom, do you think we could?" His voice wavered, but he pushed through. "Paint something for her. Something that reminds us of all she loved." Of Mom. The air felt thick with emotion, yet vulnerable at the same time. Grandma looked up, her eyes glimmering with unshed tears. "I think she'd like that very much, Jack." Ella's innocent cheer was a soft counterpoint to the depth of their conversation, her laughter weaving through the sentiment, that there was an unspoken understanding among them. This wasn't just about painting anymore, it was about remembering, healing, and embracing the past that shaped who they were now. As they put their minds together to envision this piece for Ella, Jack felt a shift within him. What if he could let his work email wait just a little longer? What if embracing this moment could open a door to new possibilities? "Can I paint too?" Ella asked eagerly. Jack smiled, realizing how intertwined their lives had become, shaping and shifting toward the future. He nodded, motioning her to join them. In that moment, they shared laughter, stories, and a vision of a future that included joy, love, and just enough magic. But as they prepared to paint the tribute, a new worry crept into Jack's mind. Would he ever be ready to share this piece of his heart with someone else? Someone who could walk alongside him, nurturing the love blooming in their family? As if sensing his turmoil, Grandma squeezed his hand reassuringly. "Jack," she said softly, "sometimes it's the surprises that fill our hearts the most." What did she mean by that? Whatever it was, Jack felt tension and anticipation of something unknown just around the corner. The revelation loomed like the night sky waiting for stars to break through. He wondered, was this the moment that could truly change everything? Jack took a step back, his heart pounding. He watched as Ella mixed her colors with enthusiasm, painting the flowers she loved so deeply. The backyard, once just a swatch of greens and browns, came alive under their brushes. With every stroke, Jack could feel a bond tightening, his worries seeming miles away. It was just the three of them, wrapped in love, the past and future converging in a magic moment. "Let us paint the sky too," Ella exclaimed, her eyes wide with wonder. "Can we make it pink?" "Of course we can," Jack replied, grinning. It felt amazing to let his imagination soar alongside hers. As they blended the pinks and purples across the canvas, the world faded into oblivion. In that instant, nothing else mattered. No emails, no deadlines, just pure creativity. Time slipped by, the sun's last rays barely illuminating the backyard as the scene dimmed. Grandma wiped a tear from the corner of her eye, watching the two of them created what could only be described as a colorful testament of their love and remembrance for Mom. "You know, Jack," she began cautiously, "your mom always wanted a garden that brought joy. She believed in the magic of creating something from nothing." Jack lowered his brush and took a moment to reflect, his chest heavy with unspoken words. "She had that sparkle, didn't she?" He replied softly. "Everything she touched became beautiful, just like Ella is doing now." "Exactly," Grandma said, her voice steady yet warm. "And your heart has that same magic. You just need to believe it." He met her gaze and saw sincerity shining in her eyes. "Yeah," but his voice faltered as the doubt crept back in. "How do I manage keeping us all together while pursuing my work? There's a part of me that feels like running away sometimes." "No," Grandma interrupted gently. "Running away isn't the answer. You're already engaged, you're already here with them. Just let that love guide your steps." Her words danced in the air, leaving Jack to grapple with the tenderness that swelled within. He felt a deep yearning to truly open up and show them the depths of his own heart, yet the fear of that step brought hesitation. What if he wasn't enough? With a determined breath, he turned to Ella, who was still painting intently, her pink fingers smudged with color. "Ella, did you know you're creating magic right now?" Her smile lit up the dimming evening, making his heart lift. "Really? I am." "You are." He gently brushed a strand of hair from her face. "What if we invite more magic into our lives?" A part of him was terrified of what those words could entail, yet another part felt an exhilarating rush of hope. "Like a magic fairy?" She giggled, eyes twinkling. "Something like that," he chuckled, feigning seriousness. But there was no doubt about it, this was the beginning of something. He could feel it thrumming beneath the surface. As they finished their masterpiece, the shadows deepened, and a cool breeze brushed against them. The backyard, filled with their laughter and splashes of color, felt alive. Jack glanced at Grandma, who looked just as contemplative as he felt. "Maybe it's time to share our magic," she started, but before she could finish, her phone buzzed. "Oh, who could that be?" She frowned, flipping it open. Jack's heart raced. Is this what is going to disrupt this beautiful moment? Maybe it's a sign. Ella exclaimed, holding her brush like a wand. As Grandma answered the call, Jack's gaze drifted back to their vibrant painting, full of promise. Was it possible that a connection of love could bloom in this moment as well? What new surprises awaited them just beyond the horizon? Jack's heart skipped as a thought struck him. Perhaps letting go of control could lead to the surprises. Grandma spoke of the surprises that could teach him how to embrace unexpected joy. As Grandma ended the call, her expression shifted, more curious than ever. Well, that was surprising. Now Jack was on edge. What had she heard? What if this was the start of something truly transformative? But as the stars glittered above, he felt fear mixing with anticipation. What new adventures awaited? And could they really find the strength to embrace them together? The sun rose softly the next day, pouring warmth into every corner of Jack's home. Jack stirred awake, the soft melodies of Ella humming to herself in the next room flooding his heart with joy. She had a glow about her today, a spark that ignited a determination within him. Today was not just any day, today was the day he would keep his promise to Ella and show her how much she truly meant to him. Breakfast was filled with laughter, each pancake flipped and syrup poured shared with playful competition. "Mine's taller," Ella challenged, holding her stack high. "But I bet mine tastes better," Jack replied, ruffling her hair as they both burst into giggles. This was what it should always feel like, lightness and warmth, without pressures and worries weighing them down. Soon, Grandma arrived, her face lighting up like the sun itself. "Did I hear there's a painting party?" she called out with bright enthusiasm. Ella dragged her outside, anxious to show Grandma the art they had created together. Jack followed behind, a spring in his step as he watched their bond unfold. The laughter that emanated from Ella when she was with her Grandma made his heart sing. This was the essence of family, and he wanted more of it. Gathered at the patio, their canvases stood proudly, capturing a vibrant explosion of color. "We should add more flowers," Ella exclaimed, her eyes wide with excitement. Jack painted alongside Grandma, their brushes intertwining. With every stroke, they shared memories of Jack's childhood, a delicate connection weaving them tighter. As they painted and laughed, something shifted in Jack. Each stroke began to symbolize more than just art, it was a manifestation of the love he had neglected, the love that Ella needed. He thought back to the heavy office hours, the endless meetings, and felt a lightness unraveling within. "Ella, why don't you tell Grandma the story behind our magic garden?" Jack suggested, his heart swelling with pride as Ella recounted her whimsical thoughts while painting. "And you know what, Grandma?" she added. "I want to keep painting, like all the time, with both you and Dad. Family painting days." Jack's heart soared. He glanced at his mom, who smiled back at him, her eyes shimmering with pride. "What a wonderful idea, sweet pea," Grandma replied. "Creating together is the best way to build memories. It's what your mom would have wanted." As the words settled in the air, Jack felt a touch of bittersweet. It was like a reminder that the past shaped their present, but he was ready to carve out a new path. A path filled with family, laughter, and creativity, one where work could be balanced with being emotionally present. After finishing their paintings, they stepped back, admiring the canvases, a beautiful representation of a family reborn through connection and love. "This weekend, I'll show you guys how to make my famous cookies," Grandma declared proudly. Jack's heart raced, he could feel the momentum building, but as the afternoon wore on, thoughts of tomorrow crept in. It was time for Jack to take a step further into the unknown. Homes are built from the ground up, right? He thought, feeling the urgency bubble. He took a deep breath, summoning courage. "Mom, do you think we could open up a family art day for the neighborhood? Like a big event?" he asked tentatively. The suggestion hung in the air for a moment. Grandma's face lit up. "That's an incredible idea, Jack. Imagine all the children creating together." Ella's enthusiasm was infectious. "Can we invite the ones from school? Please, please." Jack felt the heartbeat of his own ambition vibrating in the air. "Okay, yes. I'll make it happen." They spent the rest of the afternoon planning, colorfully jotting down ideas where to set up, what activities to include, and how to bring the community together. Jack felt a sense of commitment surge through him. This was not just about painting, it was about building a foundation of connection for Ella and everyone in their world. As dusk painted the sky with soft hues, Jack knew in his heart that things were changing, that he was changing. The weight on his shoulders lifted, and love radiated in its place. "Let's do this together," he declared, looking at Ella and Grandma, their faces reflecting back his determination. Above them, stars twinkled in approval, and they started to dream of a future vibrant with family, creativity, and connection. Family Connection Weekend. It's just the start. It was no longer just about Jack's ambitions as a CEO, it was about building a life where his daughter felt seen, cherished, and above all, loved. The night settled in, bringing with it a renewed sense of hope. Jack tucked Ella into bed, her eyes heavy with dreams of adventure and colors. As he kissed her forehead and whispered goodnight, he felt as though he was home at last, fully present, and ready to embrace the journey ahead. Tomorrow was not just another day, it was the beginning of a beautiful chapter filled with promise and heart. You need to subscribe now to not miss the next exclusive stories and this incredible journey of transformation. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your support to the channel. Comment your reactions and feelings about this ending. Your thoughts matter, and don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Together, let us inspire the world to cherish family and connection.